So you've got Florence. Chances are you pulled her on purpose, so congratulations. She's an extremely powerful unit, and much easier to build and play than Licha. I'm Shrike, subscribe for more gacha content, let's dive in. Let's start with Ancient Marks. First off, Florence is a fire DPS that specializes in AoE damage, and for that reason you'll want to build her for damage output, though there is a caveat. Unless she's fully duped, it's not efficient to build her with crit rate and crit damage. The most she can get prior to P6 is around 50 or 60%, which is okay, but you trade a lot of potential damage just for roughly a 50-50 chance of critting. Instead, it's best to build her as the suggestions advise, with Pierce as the primary focus, followed by attack and fire damage, using a 10-5-5-3-3-3 build with Endless March as your 10, Jade Crane and Phoenix Tail as your 5s, and then whatever for the 3s since those don't matter, lacking any mark bonuses. For those wondering if there is a 10-10-3-3-3 build for her, I'm going to say it's not advised, and I'll tell you why. Florence's kit deals derived damage and piercing damage, so you really want the Endless March to enhance her piercing, and the Phoenix Tail to enhance her derived. However, you are free to build the character however you want. I'm just letting you know what I believe to be the most efficient way. And speaking of efficient, this is the most efficient arrangement for the 10-5-5 build to fit everything in nicely. And if you're set on the 10-10, then probably stick with the towers, since they're DPS focused typically, and they fit too like this. Bear in mind though that the Nourishing Wings mark, while powerful, is the only one of its shape, and if you use it, you will not be able to fit another 10 with it. At least not with the current selection of marks we have. Now let's move on to her kit. I won't read them verbatim, since I'm pretty sure you know how to read. What I'll do is summarize them, or at least the parts I think are most important. Her basic attack pretty much says that whatever you do with it, be it regular attack, heavy attack, counter attack, it will put her into a stance, her passive, dominance. And also much of her damage will be regular damage, rather than basic attack damage. And that goes for her whole kit, not just her basic. Her skill 1 is a lunge that puts her into a stance and changes the skill to an enhanced version. Her skill 2 is a spin that, you guessed it, puts her into a stance and changes the skill to an enhanced version. All the damage she does while in the enhanced state will be considered derived. So if the circle's alive, she does derived. There's also a stacking buff that she gives herself. It's part of her passive, but it happens without you needing to do anything. Basically just if you use the enhanced skills, her attacks stack higher and higher, but you're already going to do that because we gacha players like pressing glowing buttons. So for the purposes of not overwhelming you, I won't go into any more detail about that. And her ultimate is beautifully simplistic. Big, sweeping, flaming sword AoE. She Uga do bigum damage. Nothing fancy. But the idea is to get all those stacks up from her passive before unleashing it, so her attack is cranked up. As for skill priorities, definitely focus on passive, the 2 skills, and her ultimate. The others aren't important. I won't go into her best in slot weapon. It's always going to be the signature. I mean, come on, they made it specifically for her, of course it's going to be the best in slot. Now though, I'm going to go over the typical rotation, kinda what you want to be doing in combat. You don't need to think too much about her kit. There's a lot there if you want to go reading, and I'm sure you could play her better if you really wanted to. But she's a character you can basically no-brain, just by understanding that her skills after using them turn into enhanced versions, and her basic combo is skill 2, skill 1, enhanced skill 1, then finish off with enhanced skill 2. Repeat until you have your ultimate, hope the passive gave you lots of bonuses, and let it rip. I main Licha, and he's not nearly as simple as Florence is. It's nice to take a break from him and use her once in a while to just cleave things. Let's finish off by talking about her best teammates. She's going to be the main DPS in whatever team you put her in, naturally, so you'll want some good supports to help her out, and possibly a sub DPS. One team a lot of people run is her, Zero, and Logos. The X-Zero Logos team is basically always going to be good, so long as the X is a decent DPS. The other team, which seeks to take advantage of Florence's fire attribute, is her, Hefe, and Ming. Hefe is your anomaly buffer. But I'll be honest, I've never even looked at Ming. I have no idea what she brings to that team. Another team I've seen around is her, Zero, and Nana. Nana is an off-field sub-DPS, and Florence is an on-field DPS, so they work well together. You could also do her, Hefe, and Nana, because the Dark Anomaly is very strong. And I think that just about covers it. There's the in-game tutorial for each character, and I suggest you do them, because not only does it basically tell you exactly what to do with each character, but it also gives you a summon for each character's tutorial that you do, so that's nice. But with that being said, I'm gonna fly. See you in the next one. Bye.